try to find here is a way to have the debates about policy and get to the point of compromise when possible, but to do as much as we can to keep partisan politics out of the equation.
Let me say first, partisanship, I believe, is very important if it's done right. You don't have democracy without parties, and that's never been a system. The problem, and there are legitimate differences that should be debated. The problem is when those differences become so embittered that people can't then compromise or come together.
And so with the president and congressional leaders set to continue their fiscal cliff negotiations today, what are the hurdles preventing them from cutting a deal? Joining me now for our Washington Insiders debate are Democratic strategist Christy Setzer and Republican strategist Ford O'Connell. All right, we've assembled a great team here for a Monday morning. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
All right, so let's just go down to the facts. We know that Republicans don't really want to raise taxes, but they might have to. Democrats really don't want to cut entitlement spending, but they might have to. Do I have it right, Ford?
You've got it absolutely right.
And so where do we go?
Well, the question here is the Republicans, I think, are going to have to put revenue on the table. The question is whether they do it through raising rates or through capping deductions. What they really don't want to do right now with raising rates is because it tends to harm economic growth, particularly among the small business sector, since within that 2%, about 1 million small business owners file their individual income, their business income on their individual returns. And until we really fix the corporate tax code, this is going to continue. So what we need to do is find a way to really raise revenue without raising rates. But in the meantime, I think what's going to happen is we're going to get a stopgap measure in the hopes of a larger deal, because really Democrats right now are not being honest about entitlement reform.
So Christy, Republicans over the weekend seem to be giving, which was amazing to a lot of people. They're saying, yeah, maybe we will get rid of some of these deductions, which will in effect raise taxes without increasing the rates. Now, are Democrats going to do the same thing about spending cuts?
Well, I don't think it's all that incredible that Republicans gave in, Gretchen. Listen, they need to learn the lessons of the election. Americans have been very clear and very unified on what they want to see out of any deal. They want an end to the Bush tax cuts for the wealthiest 2%. They want to preserve important programs like Social Security and Medicare that protect our seniors. And they want to see Washington work together. And we had this conversation a year and a half ago. Republicans dug in their heels on all 3 points, and they paid the consequences in this election.
Yeah, but Ford, a lot of people argue that it's always the Republicans, or at least it seems that way, that they're the ones that are forced to compromise and that Democrats don't. Am I wrong on that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing in terms of the fiscal cliff. Democrats control the White House and the Senate. They have 2 of the 3 legs necessary to make a deal. Yes, Republicans need to give in a little bit and sort of generate that revenue, but Democrats have to be honest and not overread this mandate. We need to have, certainty within the economy. We need to but we also need to have some fiscal sanity right now. And entitlements are 65% of the federal budget, and they're increasing by the hour. And if we don't get the spending under control, America's in trouble, because we're $16 trillion in debt, and we don't want to become Greece.
Yeah, Christy, how do you answer that, Christy? Because even if we put these deductions into place or get rid of them, the amount of money that brings in doesn't begin to cover the costs of these entitlement programs. So let's just face the facts here. How are the Democrats really going to answer the American people about that?
In several ways, Gretchen. Listen, first we need to really tackle this tax cuts question. By ending the Bush tax cuts, the president has put forward a program that says that we will cut about $4 trillion from the deficit over the next 10 years. Then there's all kinds of ways we can cut waste, fraud, and abuse. We don't need to be paying for military planes that we haven't used in 30 years. But it's pretty clear that Republicans need to give in on the tax cuts issue first.
I guess so. We'll see. Ford, I guess we'll see if that's how it goes when they all come to the table. They seem to be playing nicey nice, but they're not yet back to work. Christy and Ford, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Great to see you too.